Let me tell you something, success doesn't care about your excuses. It doesn't care about how you feel or how tired you are. Success is a cold, hard truth, and it belongs to those willing to grind for it every single day. The biggest key to success, it's not talent. It's not luck. It's not even how smart you are. It's about one thing: discipline. Discipline is what gets you out of bed when every bone in your body screams for 5 more minutes. Discipline is what pushes you to the gym when your muscles are sore and your mind is saying, take it easy. It's not sexy, it's not flashy, and it's definitely not easy, but it works every single time. Most people think success is about motivation. They say, I'll start when I feel ready. Let me be clear, motivation is a liar. Motivation is temporary, fleeting. It's like a sugar high. It feels great for a while, but it doesn't last. Discipline, that's what stays when motivation packs up and leaves. Discipline is showing up when you don't feel like it. It's doing the work no matter what. The truth is, nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's going to hand you a free pass or pave the way to your dreams. You have to build it yourself, brick by brick. And each one of those bricks is a choice to push harder, to stay focused, to do the work no one else wants to do. The path to success is simple, but don't mistake simple for easy. It's waking up earlier than you want to. It's saying no to distractions and yes to the grind. It's holding yourself accountable every single day. There are no shortcuts, no magic formulas. The grind is the grind, and you've got to embrace it. And let me tell you this, you're going to fail. Over and over again, it's part of the process. But discipline isn't about never failing, it's about getting back up every time you do. It's about refusing to quit when things get hard, because they will. And that's where most people stop. They hit a wall and turn around. Discipline doesn't let you stop. It makes you climb over, dig under, or break straight through that wall. So what's the biggest key to success? It's not about being the best or the fastest or the strongest. It's about showing up every single day, even when it hurts, especially when it hurts, because that's when you grow. That's when you separate yourself from the pack. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop looking for an easier way. The key is right in front of you, and it's called discipline. You want success? Go out there and earn it. Motivation is one of the most misunderstood concepts when it comes to success. People chase it like it's the golden ticket, waiting for that burst of energy or inspiration to finally get started on their goals. But here's the truth, motivation is a liar. It's unreliable. It comes and goes as it pleases, showing up when things are easy and vanishing the moment the grind gets tough. You can't count on it. That's why the real secret to success lies in discipline. Discipline is the backbone of progress. It's not about how you feel, it's about what you do. It's waking up every day and putting in the work, even when you're tired, even when you're unmotivated, even when the world feels like it's stacked against you. Discipline doesn't care if you're in the mood or not. It's about making the decision to act, regardless of your emotions. That's where the power lies. The problem with relying on motivation is that it's fleeting. It's easy to feel motivated when you're scrolling through inspirational quotes, watching videos of people crushing their goals, or daydreaming about success. In those moments, you feel unstoppable, ready to take on the world. But what happens the next morning when the alarm clock goes off at 5 a.m. and your bed feels like the safest, warmest place in the world? What happens when the excitement fades and you're left staring at the hard, unglamorous work ahead? If you're relying on motivation, chances are you'll hit snooze, you'll procrastinate, you'll tell yourself, I'll do it tomorrow, and then tomorrow never comes. Discipline, on the other hand, doesn't negotiate. It doesn't wait for the stars to align or for you to feel a certain way. It's the internal commitment to yourself to do what needs to be done, no matter what. Discipline says, I don't care if you're tired or sore or not in the mood. Get up. Do the work. It's about building habits that operate independently of your feelings. The beauty of discipline is that it removes the question of whether or not you'll show up. It's already decided. Developing discipline starts with small, consistent actions. It's not about massive leaps. It's about tiny, deliberate steps repeated over and over until they become second nature. It's choosing to put your phone down and focus on your work for just 30 minutes. It's lacing up your running shoes and heading out the door, even if it's raining. It's saying no to distractions and yes to the hard things that move you closer to your goals. Each of these moments builds a foundation of discipline. Over time, those small actions compound into massive results. Discipline also thrives on structure and routine. When you have a plan, when you set aside time for what matters, you eliminate the guesswork. You don't have to decide in the moment whether or not you're going to work out or tackle that big project you've already made the decision ahead of time. You just execute. That's the difference between someone who waits for motivation and someone who's built discipline. The truth is, discipline isn't glamorous. It's not exciting. It's not the flashy part of success that gets celebrated, but it's the most essential part. Think about the people who have achieved incredible things. They didn't get there because they felt like it every day. They got there because they kept showing up. When the crowds weren't cheering, when no one was watching, they were grinding. That's what discipline is all about. Discipline gives you freedom. It frees you from the roller coaster of emotions and excuses. It puts you in control of your actions and by extension, your results. When you build discipline, you're no longer at the mercy of fleeting feelings or external circumstances. You become unstoppable, capable of doing whatever it takes to achieve your goals. Discomfort is the greatest teacher, yet so many people spend their lives running from it. We're wired to avoid pain, to seek comfort, and to stick to what feels safe and familiar. But the truth is, the life you want, the goals you dream of, and the person you're capable of becoming all exist on the other side of discomfort. If you're serious about success, you have to stop running from it and start embracing it. Discomfort isn't a bad thing. It's a signal that you're doing something that challenges you, something that pushes you out of your comfort zone. Growth doesn't happen when you're comfortable. It happens when you're stretched, when you're tested, and when you're forced to adapt. Think about it, muscles don't grow unless they're put under stress. You don't learn a new skill without stumbling through the awkward, frustrating phases of being a beginner. Success operates the same way. It's born in those uncomfortable moments when you push past your limits. The problem is that most people don't want to deal with discomfort. The moment things get hard, they back off. They convince themselves it's not worth it or that they're not cut out for it. They take the easy way out because it feels better in the short term. But what they don't realize is that avoiding discomfort comes with a cost. Every time you shy away from a challenge, you're not just staying in your comfort zone, you're shrinking it. You're telling yourself that hard things aren't for you. And over time, that mindset becomes a prison. To achieve success, you have to reframe your relationship with discomfort. Instead of seeing it as something to avoid, start seeing it as a sign that you're on the right track. When you're uncomfortable, it means you're doing something that has the power to change you. It means you're stepping into new territory, building resilience, and proving to yourself that you're stronger than you thought. That's where transformation happens, not in the comfort zone, but in the fire. Let's be clear, embracing discomfort doesn't mean seeking out unnecessary pain or putting yourself in harm's way. It means being willing to do the hard things that most people avoid. It means showing up to the gym when your body aches, sitting down to work when your mind is tired, or having the difficult conversation you've been putting off. It means saying yes to opportunities that scare you, even when you're unsure of the outcome. These are the moments that shape you. The more you lean into discomfort, the stronger you become. It's like building a muscle. The first few reps might feel impossible, but with every repetition, you get a little stronger, a little more capable. Over time, the things that once felt unbearable become routine. What used to scare you becomes manageable, and you start to crave the challenges that push you further. That's the power of embracing discomfort. It expands what you're capable of. There's also a mental toughness that comes from choosing discomfort over ease. Each time you push through the hard stuff, you're proving to yourself that you're not controlled by fear or excuses. You're teaching your mind that you're in charge, that you can handle whatever comes your way. This mental toughness doesn't just help you achieve your goals, it bleeds into every area of your life. It makes you more resilient, more confident, and more prepared to face the inevitable obstacles on your path to success. Most people want success, but they want it on their terms without the sweat, without the sacrifice, without the struggle. That's not how it works. Success demands that you get uncomfortable, that you step into the unknown, and that you endure the grind. The question isn't whether or not discomfort will show up, it will. The question is whether or not you're willing to face it. Because if you are, you'll discover that the discomfort isn't the enemy, it's the doorway to everything you've ever wanted. Consistency is the silent force behind every great success story. It's not glamorous and it rarely gets celebrated, but it is the one thing that separates those who achieve their goals from those who fall short. Consistency isn't about doing something once and expecting results. It's about showing up day after day, putting in the effort, and sticking to the process even when progress feels slow, even when the results are invisible, and even when it's the last thing you want to do. The truth is, most people fail not because they lack talent or opportunity, but because they lack the ability to stay consistent. They start something with enthusiasm, fired up and ready to conquer the world. But as soon as the novelty wears off or the work gets hard, they lose interest. They stop showing up. They quit, convincing themselves it wasn't meant to be. What they don't realize is that the key to success isn't found in big, dramatic actions. It's found in the small, mundane actions repeated over time. Consistency builds momentum. It's like pushing a heavy boulder. At first, it feels impossible to move. You push and push, and it barely budges. But if you keep at it, if you refuse to stop, the boulder starts to roll. Slowly at first, then faster until it's moving with its own force. That's what consistency does for you. Every small effort, every disciplined action adds up. Each one builds on the last, creating a compound effect that eventually leads to massive results. But it only works if you keep pushing. One of the biggest challenges with consistency is that the results aren't immediate. We live in a world that thrives on instant gratification. We want to see progress right away, and when we don't, it's easy to get discouraged. But consistency requires patience. It's about planting seeds and watering them daily, even when it feels like nothing is happening. Over time, those seeds grow into something extraordinary, but only if you've stayed consistent through the seasons of doubt. Another critical aspect of consistency is that it eliminates decision fatigue. When you make something a consistent habit, it becomes automatic. You don't have to waste mental energy deciding whether or not to do it, you just do it. This is why routines and systems are so powerful. They take the guesswork out of the equation. When you set aside time every morning to work on your goals, it becomes a non-negotiable part of your day. You don't have to wonder if you'll do it. You know you will because it's already decided. Consistency also creates trust not just with others, but with yourself. When you consistently show up for your goals, you prove to yourself that you can rely on your own commitment. This builds self-confidence and a sense of integrity. On the flip side, when you're inconsistent, you send a message to yourself that your promises don't matter. Over time, this erodes your confidence and makes it harder to believe in your ability to succeed. The beauty of consistency is that it doesn't demand perfection. It's not about never making a mistake or never taking a misstep. It's about coming back to the work no matter what. Miss a day, show up the next. Hit a setback, keep moving forward. Consistency isn't about being flawless, it's about being relentless. It's the willingness to keep going, even when it's inconvenient, even when the progress feels small, and even when it seems like no one else notices. Because the truth is, consistency always pays off. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but over time, the results are inevitable. Success is a long game, and consistency is what keeps you in it. It's the act of showing up, not just when it's easy, but especially when it's hard. It's putting in the work, no matter how small the steps, and trusting that those steps are leading you somewhere. Because they are. If you're consistent, if you refuse to give up, and if you keep pushing forward, you will get there. Accountability is the cornerstone of achieving anything worthwhile. It's the ability to take full responsibility for your actions, decisions, and outcomes without relying on anyone else to hold you to your commitments. Most people look for someone to push them, a coach, a boss, a mentor, someone who will make them show up and do the work. But real success comes when you stop waiting for external accountability and start holding yourself accountable. To be accountable is to be honest with yourself. It means looking in the mirror and owning where you are, not blaming your circumstances, other people, or bad luck for what you haven't achieved. It's about recognizing that the results you're getting, good or bad, are a direct reflection of the choices you've made. That kind of radical honesty isn't easy. It's uncomfortable to admit when you've fallen short or when you haven't given your best effort. But until you're willing to take full ownership of your actions, you can't change anything. Accountability starts with setting clear goals and expectations for yourself. If you don't know what you're working toward or what's expected, how can you hold yourself accountable? Vague intentions won't cut it. Saying you want to get in shape or be successful means nothing without specifics. Instead, you need a clear, measurable target, something like lose 20 pounds in 6 months or earn $50,000 in additional income this year. When your goals are specific, they give you a clear benchmark to measure your actions against. Once you've set your goals, the next step is creating a plan and sticking to it. Accountability isn't just about having big dreams, it's about breaking those dreams down into actionable steps and committing to executing them. It's not enough to say you'll work out more or save more money. What's the plan? Are you hitting the gym 3 times a week? Are you setting aside $500 from every paycheck? Accountability lives in the details. The clearer your plan, the harder it becomes to make excuses. But even with a plan, excuses will come. They always do. There will be days when you're too tired, too busy, or too stressed to follow through. This is where self-accountability is tested. Will you let the excuses win, or will you push through anyway? Accountability means saying, I made a commitment and I'm sticking to it no matter how I feel right now. It's about honoring the promises you make to yourself the same way you'd honor a promise to someone else. Tracking your progress is another critical part of holding yourself accountable. You need to know whether you're moving forward or falling behind. This means regularly checking in with yourself to evaluate your actions and their results. Are you staying consistent? Are you making the progress you said you would? If not, why? Tracking isn't just about celebrating wins, it's also about identifying where you're falling short so you can course correct. The numbers don't lie. They'll tell you exactly where you stand, but only if you're willing to look at them honestly. One of the hardest parts of self-accountability is facing failure. When things don't go as planned, it's tempting to point fingers or make excuses. But accountability doesn't allow for that. It forces you to ask tough questions. Did I really do everything I could? Was my effort consistent? Did I stick to my plan? If the answer is no, accountability doesn't shame you, it empowers you. It reminds you that you have the power to change. Failure isn't final unless you refuse to learn from it. Accountability is freedom. When you hold yourself accountable, you take control of your life. You stop waiting for someone else to guide you, motivate you, or push you. You become the driving force behind your success. It's not about being perfect. It's about being honest, consistent, and relentless in your pursuit of your goals. When you fully embrace accountability, you eliminate excuses, build trust with yourself, and create a foundation for lasting success. The power has always been in your hands. You just have to own it. Failure is an inevitable part of success. It's not something you can avoid, and it's not something to fear. The truth is, failure is one of the most valuable tools you'll ever have in your journey to achieve greatness. The problem is that most people see failure as the end of the road, a sign that they aren't cut out for success. They let it break them instead of using it to build themselves up. If you want to succeed, you need to shift your perspective. Failure isn't the enemy. It's a teacher, a guide, and sometimes the very thing that pushes you to the next level. The first thing you need to understand about failure is that it's normal. Everyone fails. The most successful people in the world have failed more times than they can count. The difference is that they didn't let those failures define them. They learned from them. Every failure contains a lesson, but you have to be willing to look for it. When you fail, it's not a time to wallow in self-pity or make excuses. It's a time to reflect. Ask yourself what went wrong. What could I have done differently? What can I take from this experience to ensure I don't make the same mistake again? Failure doesn't mean you're starting over from scratch. It means you're starting from experience. Every time you fail and get back up, you're better prepared for the next challenge. You've gained knowledge, resilience, and perspective. Success isn't about avoiding failure, it's about learning how to navigate through it. The more you fail, the more you grow, and the closer you get to your goals. The key is to embrace failure as part of the process, not as something to avoid at all costs. One of the biggest mistakes people make is letting the fear of failure hold them back. They don't take risks because they're afraid of what might happen if things don't go as planned. But playing it safe is the quickest way to stagnate. Growth requires risk, and risk comes with the possibility of failure. If you're not failing, it's a sign you're not pushing yourself hard enough. You're staying in your comfort zone where it's safe, predictable, and ultimately unremarkable. The people who achieve extraordinary things are the ones who are willing to take bold steps even when the outcome is uncertain. Failure also builds resilience. Every time you fail and decide to keep going, you're proving to yourself that you're stronger than the setback. You're showing yourself that you have what it takes to persevere no matter what obstacles come your way. Resilience is one of the most important traits you can develop on the path to success because the road isn't easy. There will be challenges, setbacks, and moments when quitting feels like the best option. But if you've built the habit of learning from failure and pushing forward, you'll find a way through. It's important to separate failure from your identity. Just because you failed doesn't mean you're a failure. Too often, people internalize their mistakes, letting them define who they are. This mindset is toxic and counterproductive. You are not your failures. You are your ability to rise above them, to adapt, and to keep striving for better. When you see failure as feedback rather than a verdict, it loses its power to stop you. Failure also has a way of revealing what you're truly made of. It strips away the fluff and exposes your character. Do you give up when things get hard, or do you dig deep and find a way to keep going? Failure forces you to confront your limits and decide whether you're willing to push beyond them. That's where true growth happens. It's not in the moments of success, but in the moments when everything falls apart and you choose to keep fighting anyway. The bottom line is that failure isn't something to fear, it's something to embrace. It's part of the process, and it's essential for growth. Every failure is an opportunity to learn, to adapt, and to come back stronger. The only way to truly fail is to quit. As long as you're willing to get back up, take the lessons, and keep moving forward, failure isn't the end. It's a stepping stone to success. Effort is the ultimate equalizer. It doesn't matter where you start, how talented you are, or what resources you have. Effort is what bridges the gap between where you are and where you want to be. The world often glorifies talent, intelligence, or luck as the keys to success, but these things are secondary to the relentless determination to put in the work. Effort isn't flashy, and it doesn't always get immediate recognition, but it's the one thing you can control, and it's the most significant factor in determining your success. Putting in the effort means showing up every single day, no matter what. It means doing the hard things that others avoid, the things that aren't fun or glamorous but are necessary. It's easy to work hard when you feel inspired or when progress is obvious. The real test of effort comes on the days when you don't feel like it, when you're tired, unmotivated, or frustrated by a lack of immediate results. Those are the days that separate the successful from the rest. Success isn't about how hard you work when it's easy, it's about how hard you work when it's hard. Effort isn't just about working more hours or doing more tasks. It's about working with intention and focus. It's about giving your best to whatever you're doing, whether it's a workout, a project, or learning a new skill. Half-hearted effort doesn't yield extraordinary results. If you're going to put in the time, make it count. That means eliminating distractions, staying committed to your goals, and pushing yourself to do better every time. Effort is a choice, a decision to give everything you have, even when no one is watching. Consistency amplifies effort. Putting in the work for one day or 1 week isn't enough. Success is built on sustained effort over time. It's the compound effect of daily actions that creates momentum and leads to breakthroughs. Think of it like filling a jar with drops of water. Each day your effort adds a drop, and over time the jar fills. The problem is, most people stop adding drops when they don't see immediate results. They give up just before the jar overflows. Effort requires patience and trust in the process, knowing that every drop counts. Effort also demands that you embrace the grind. Achieving big goals isn't a straight line, it's a series of ups and downs, setbacks and obstacles. Effort means continuing to push forward even when the path gets rocky. It's about adapting to challenges, finding solutions, and refusing to quit. People who rely on talent or luck often crumble when faced with adversity because they've never had to work through the grind. Those who rely on effort, however, are unshakable. They know how to persist because they've built the habit of showing up and doing the work, no matter what. One of the most underrated aspects of effort is that it builds confidence. Every time you push yourself to give your best, you prove to yourself that you're capable of more than you thought. Effort strengthens your belief in your ability to overcome challenges and achieve your goals. This confidence becomes a self-fulfilling cycle. The harder you work, the more capable you feel, and the more motivated you are to keep pushing. Over time, this mindset becomes unstoppable. Effort is also the great equalizer. It doesn't matter if someone else is more talented, smarter, or has a head start. Your effort can level the playing field and even give you the advantage. Talent might give someone a temporary edge, but without effort, talent fades. Effort, on the other hand, is relentless. It chips away at obstacles, builds skills, and closes gaps. If you're willing to outwork everyone else, you can achieve things that once seemed impossible. The truth is, effort doesn't guarantee instant success, but it guarantees progress. And progress over time leads to results. Effort isn't a one-time thing, it's a lifestyle, a mindset, and a commitment to giving your best no matter the circumstances. It's the one thing you can always control, and it's the most reliable path to success. Effort is what separates the dreamers from the doers, the wishful thinkers from the achievers, and the ordinary from the extraordinary. Success is built on consistent effort, embracing failure, accountability, and discomfort. It's about showing up every day, learning from mistakes, and pushing through challenges. With discipline, resilience, and relentless dedication, you turn goals into reality. The power is in your hands. It's time to take action.